Watch an ordinary space transform into a breathtaking garden in mere seconds. The magic of time-lapse allows us to witness this transformation in a blink of an eye. Imagine a barren plot, seemingly devoid of life, gradually taking on an aura of vibrancy and lushness, all thanks to the power of thoughtful landscape design. The right design principles can turn the most unremarkable spaces into your very own garden oasis. Ready to learn how to create your own garden oasis? Let's dive into the core principles of landscape design. Unity is the thread that weaves together all elements of your garden. Imagine it as the conductor of an orchestra, bringing together diverse elements to create a harmonious symphony. It's about consistency and repetition. For instance, using similar shapes or colors throughout the garden can create a sense of unity. Consider a garden with a circular pond at its heart. Now imagine that same pond surrounded by rounded shrubs and flowers with circular blooms. The repetition of the circle shape unifies the garden, making it appear as one cohesive piece rather than a collection of separate elements. Similarly, unity can be achieved through color. A garden with shades of purple, from light lavender to deep plum, sprinkled throughout creates a unifying visual flow. But unity isn't just about visual elements. It's also about the garden's function. A garden designed for relaxation might include a hammock, a tranquil water feature, and aromatic plants like lavender and jasmine. A unified design is pleasing to the eye, creating a sense of calm and order in your outdoor space. Balance and proportion are fundamental principles in any form of design, including landscaping. They are what give a garden its sense of harmony and completeness. Like the perfectly proportioned petals of a flower or the equilibrium seen in nature, balance and proportion bring a visual satisfaction that is deeply rooted in our perception. Now, imagine a garden. One side is densely planted with towering trees and flowering shrubs, while the other side is sparse with just a few low-lying plants. The visual weight is uneven and the garden feels incomplete, right? This is where balance comes into play. By distributing the elements of your garden evenly, you create a sense of stability and order. Proportion, on the other hand, is about the size relationship between different parts of your garden. A towering oak next to a small garden bench might make the bench seem insignificant. Conversely, a small tree next to a large patio could make the patio seem overly expansive. By considering proportion in your garden design, you ensure that all the elements work together, creating a unified and cohesive space. But here's an interesting twist. Balance doesn't mean everything has to be symmetrical. A garden can be perfectly balanced with different plants, structures, and elements on either side. This is known as asymmetrical balance, and it can bring a dynamic, interesting look to your garden. It's like a seesaw with different weights at each end that still balance perfectly. Remember, balance doesn't necessarily mean symmetry. Asymmetrical designs can be just as balanced and appealing. Variety adds interest and emphasis draws attention. These are words to live by when planning your garden. Variety is the spice of life, and nowhere is this more true than in the garden. It's all about introducing an array of different elements to keep things interesting. Think different types of plants, diverse colors, and a mix of textures. This medley of elements creates a visual feast that keeps the eyes dancing from one point to another. A garden filled with a variety of plants not only looks vibrant, but also supports a wider range of wildlife, making your garden a lively, bustling ecosystem. And then we come to the principle of emphasis. This is about creating focal points that draw the eye. These can be anything from a beautiful rose bush in full bloom to a striking piece of garden art, or even a charming bird bath. The idea is to create visual anchors that give the eye a place to rest and provide a counterpoint to the variety around them. These focal points can be emphasized through clever use of color, texture, or size. For instance, a red rose bush set against a backdrop of lush green foliage naturally draws the eye. Similarly, a tall tree or a large garden statue can become a focal point due to its size. The trick is to strike a balance between variety and emphasis. Too much variety without any emphasis can feel chaotic, with the eye not knowing where to look. On the other hand, too much emphasis without enough variety can make a garden feel static and uninteresting. One of the joys of garden design is that there are no hard and fast rules. It's an art form that allows for personal expression. So feel free to experiment with different plants, colors, and focal points to see what works best for your space. Remember, the goal is to create a garden that not only looks beautiful, but also feels like an extension of your personality. A garden with variety and emphasis is a garden that invites exploration and admiration. Now, how do we apply these principles in our own gardens? Well, let's start with textures. Think of your garden as a canvas and the plants as your palette. Incorporating different textures in your garden can create a beautiful contrast. Mix and match smooth leaves with rough bark, glossy plants with matte ones. This variety will keep your garden visually interesting throughout the year. Next, consider color theory. Colors can evoke emotions and create harmony or contrast in your garden. Cool blues and greens can foster a sense of calm, while warm reds and oranges can create energy and excitement. Complementary colors, those opposite each other on the color wheel, can make each other pop when placed side by side. But remember, balance is key. Too much contrast can be jarring, while too much harmony can be dull. Now let's talk about proportion. This is where you'll need to think about the future growth of your plants. A small sapling may look perfect next to your garden bench now, but what about when it grows into a large tree? By considering how your plants will grow and change over time, you can ensure that your garden remains balanced and proportionate in the years to come. And don't forget unity. Try to create a sense of cohesion in your garden. This could be through repeating a particular plant, color, or shape throughout your garden. This repetition will tie your garden together and create a sense of unity. Finally, think about emphasis. What's the star of your garden? Perhaps it's a stunning rose bush, a serene water feature, or a majestic tree. Whatever it is, make sure it shines. Use the principles of balance and proportion to ensure that your garden star isn't overshadowed, but also that it doesn't overwhelm the rest of your garden. With these principles in mind, you're well on your way to creating a garden that's both beautiful and functional. Ready to get your hands dirty? Here are some simple DIY landscaping projects you can try. First up is a stone pathway. This project is as straightforward as it gets. Just map out your path, lay down a bed of sand, and place your stones. The result is a charming walkway that adds a rustic appeal to your garden. Next, consider building a raised flower bed. It's a fantastic way to add depth and dimension to your garden. All you need are some planks of wood, a few nails, and a healthy dose of soil and compost. The beauty of this project is you can tailor it to fit any space, large or small, and it's perfect for showcasing those vibrant blooms. For those with a green thumb, why not create your own compost pile? It's an eco-friendly project that enriches your soil and reduces kitchen waste. Just find a sunny spot in your garden, start piling up organic waste, and let nature do its thing. And finally, let's talk about water features. A simple bird bath or a DIY fountain can bring a sense of tranquility to your garden. There's something about the sound of trickling water that's just so calming. Remember, these projects are designed to be budget-friendly and sustainable. And the best part, you get to see your garden transform with your own two hands. These projects are not only rewarding, but also a great way to personalize your garden. So, what have we learned about landscape design principles? We've discovered that unity in garden design is all about creating a beautiful, harmonious space. It's about linking different elements together to form a cohesive whole. Whether it's through repeating colors, shapes, or textures, unity gives your garden a sense of completeness and harmony. Next, balance and proportion play a crucial role in making your garden aesthetically pleasing. Balance can be symmetrical, mirroring one side of the garden with the other, or asymmetrical, using different elements to achieve a sense of equilibrium. Proportion, on the other hand, ensures that all parts of your garden relate well to each other and to the overall garden space. We've also delved into the principles of variety and emphasis. Variety brings excitement and interest to your garden through the use of diverse plant species, colors, and textures. Emphasis, however, draws attention to specific areas or elements in your garden, making them stand out. We've learned how to apply these principles practically, using color theory to create harmony, incorporating different textures for contrast, and designing with the future growth of plants in mind. We've even explored some DIY landscaping projects that can help you improve your garden's design. So now, it's your turn to experiment with these concepts in your own garden. Remember, the best garden is the one that brings you joy. So go out there, start designing, and most importantly, have fun.